Extensive form game and power of commitment. Well, this is an example of the bargaining game which we have already played earlier, and I'll just repeat it, but I'll add one more element to it, that is the power of commitment. Just a quick recap. B is the buyer and S is the seller. Buyer wants to buy a good which he values at $600, but he gives two choices to a seller, either $100 or $500. Now, if seller accepts the offer, then the profit which accrues to the buyer is for $500 because $600 is what he was maximum willing to pay. If buyer rejects the offer, if seller rejects the offer, then there is no utility to the buyer. Well, if buyer gives the offer of $500 and seller accepts it, then the profit to the buyer is only $100 because the maximum he was willing to pay for this was $600. And if he rejects that offer, of course he'll be foolish enough and he will be getting just zero. Okay, there'll be no payoff. Seller's cost in producing this is $50. Now, it means that when buyer gives an offer of $100, if he accepts that offer, then the profit he's going to make is only $50. If he rejects that offer, of course, he's not selling anything, so he's not going to make any profit. Eventually, it would be a loss of $50, but let's make it simple. There is no profit in this, so that is zero. And when buyer makes an offer of $500 and seller accepts it, then the profit which he's going to make is $450. And if he rejects it, then of course he's not going to make anything. Then what we did, just a quick recap again, we said there were 3 sub games, 1, 2, and the final one. In the first sub game, seller is at the position of choosing. So seller is going to choose from 50 or 0. So he will definitely choose 50. That means he will accept an offer. Now in the second sub game, again seller is at the decision node and he's going to compare from 450 and 0. So he'll compare 450. That means he will accept the offer. Now buyer is going to choose from 500 and 100. Okay, so now buyer is going to choose from 500 and 100. So definitely he will choose this 500. So he will give an offer of $100. Got it? Now comes a little twist. The twist is that seller is publicly committed or even privately committed, doesn't matter. He is committed to accept the game. Okay. If he is accepting it, okay, to accept the offer, whatever, accept the offer, then buyer knows it, that he is definitely going to accept. If he is going to accept, why on earth he will give $500? He won't, so he'll give only $100. While the other scenario could be that seller is committed not to accept less than $500 offer. And buyer knows this, that if he is not getting the product, he is getting a payoff of 0. So it is foolish on his part to offer him anything less than 500. Because in that case, he is publicly or privately or whatever committed that he is not going to sell the product for less than $500, whatsoever it is. So it is not in the best interest of the buyer to offer him anything less than 500. Because eventually buyer is also not going to get any profit out of it. Well, so he'll be giving $500. So the point is that if seller is committed not to accept any offer which is less than $500, then he can actually increase his payoff a lot. He can straight away increase his payoff from 50 to 450. That is what the power of commitment is.